Alrighty, folks, welcome along to another episode of the Made to Parade podcast. You are joining me on episode number 11 of our final season, number 6. And I'm absolutely delighted to be joined tonight by, I'm going to say, friend of the podcast, because that sounds really good. And a previous guest, Thomas McAllister from the Whiterock. Thomas, absolutely brilliant to have you back on, mate. How's things going?
Yeah, thanks very much, Glenn, for having me back on. Yeah, things are going really well. The season's kicked off, so the band's in full swing in our 60th year, so everything's going well at the moment.
Brilliant, happy days. And obviously, you were involved in our last season, and we got a great response to your episode and stuff. How have you handled the fame?
I don't know about the fame, but certainly I've had a few people come up to me and say that they watched it and it was quite good and stuff, which is great feedback to have. It's always good to sort of get the band out there and let people know what we're all about. And as you
Yeah.
as your podcast's all about, tell them the positive stories, about the band scene. So happy to do it.
Yeah, no, it's a wee bit different surroundings. It's obviously the last time we're meeting in person and
Yeah.
in work here, and we've had to go for an online meeting here just purely due to the fact that, as I was saying to you in my text previously, we had a flood here in work, and the room that I normally use has now been turned into like an open office space. So there's nowhere to go and do anything at the minute. So unfortunately, this is the best that I can do. So. Talk to me a wee bit about before we get into the CD, because that's why we're here. We're here to talk about the brand new CD, and but before we get into that, you've been talking there. The season started. How many has the band been doing quite a number of parades and stuff there? And how's the season been going for you so far?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, it's been good. Us, we don't do too many parades in the year like some of the bigger bands. We don't do all the competitions and stuff. So we have been marching. We were out the last parade there in the Carrick pageant. Obviously, we were running to yourself there.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic day out. Actually, it turned out really well. I know it went a bit windy and wet at points, but we dodged that, so it was great. And really great crowds out watching the parade. So that was a great day for us. And then we had a couple of earlier parades, obviously the Easter parade, Easter Tuesday we were out, and then we had a small parade in between that we done with the Orange as well. So yeah, we're in full swing, and then in the coming weeks, I think it gets very busy for us. Obviously this Saturday we've got the Whiterock parade,
Yep.
which is a big day for us. We kind of mark that as our anniversary date, if you will. So
Uh
it's
huh.
a big day for us. And then we're off to Scotland for the Glasgow parade on the
Oh,
Friday
very
after.
good. Nice one. And so you're doing the big walk then, yeah?
Yeah, we are indeed. Doing the big Glasgow walk again this year. Obviously, last year it was in September.
That's
So
right, aye.
bit of a change back to July this year, which is great. Hopefully a bit warmer. But the weather in Scotland is as unpredictable there as it is here.
I
So we
know.
don't know. But yeah, we're really looking forward to that. It's a great weekend. I think I mentioned on the last podcast, fantastic weekend with all the boys. So we're really looking forward to that.
Yeah, no, it was good. I obviously ran into this on the what do you call it at the pageant in
That's right.
terms of the landing and stuff. And I think you come you just you sideswiped us from the one of the wee streets. You kind of we were coming down from the Orange Hall, I think, into that field where everybody was leaving, and you guys just arrived out from our left and whatever else. And you were sounding well. You always do, like, but you were sounding great. And but what it was a good day all round, like you said. Like weather-wise, it made it. We missed, a good bit of the showers. I was happy. We got the worst I think we got hit was whenever we were leaving the Rangers club to go home, and it started to lash while we were heading for the bus or whatever. And I was like, well, I can live with that. There's worse things. Getting rained on parade is a disaster at times, but it was good. She's a cracking crowd in the city centre, wasn't there? In the town centre.
Unbelievable. The atmosphere was ecstatic, to be honest. Walking through the centre of Carrick, it was really busy, and even for the landing itself, down at the marina was really busy with crowds watching the actual landing happening. So it's very very good. Yeah, it was a great day all around.
No, definitely, and it was one of those things where you can, because there's a lot of parades on that day. There's a lot
Yeah,
of things vying for bands' attention on that particular day, and I know we had an invite. I think there was a parade in Liverpool. I think there's the Apprentice Boys. A parade in Liverpool was the same day, and I think our attitude was, well, listen, this is linked to an historic event here. This is linked to
yeah,
you know, the land of King William, you wouldn't want to give that up, you know what I mean, in terms of, as much as it's nice to walk in other places, but when it's historic like that, you kind of go, we need to really keep a connection to this, and the real reason behind this is the landing of King William. Although that wig doesn't seem to get better any year, but you know, so it
No,
does.
definitely not. Definitely not.
And, and you're always waiting. You're the kind of one year where you reckon like he's got to fall in one year, hasn't he? You know,
No, I know, I know. Every year's been a success so far, so we've had him land every year. Hopefully, it
that's
keeps
it.
it up.
So it's brilliant that we haven't changed history. That he kind of made it over okay and everything. So all good.
Definitely, definitely.
And I mean, obviously, you've got the Whiterock Parade coming up, and that's always a cracking day, as you say in your calendar. That's a big day. But it's a big day on the road here as well, isn't it? You know, the crowds really get into or come out for the Whiterock Parade, don't they?
It definitely is. I mean, and it's not a massive parade in any scale, but in terms of number of bands, I think we've maybe
Mm,
60 bands on the commission's form there. But again, the atmosphere on that day in and around the Greater Shankill area obviously goes right up into and around Highfield, where we
yeah.
obviously practice it for the last 40 whatever years. So those parades are massive. The crowds are the whole way around. The route is well lit, and people are very happy to join in.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm looking forward to hopefully being around myself for it. You know, so I know
Yeah,
there's a couple of parades on. You know, I know we're out on a Friday night in East Belfast. And I think there's something else on the Saturday as well. But that's just
yeah.
standard, isn't it? You know, there's loads of. I think is Pride of Ballinrone's parade this Saturday as well. I think.
I'm not sure. I know Rathcoole Paris and Boys is this
That's
Saturday
right.
as well.
That's
That's in
right
the
as well.
evening.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
so
they're on. And I'm near sure. I'm near sure it's Pride of Ballinrone's parade as well on Saturday too. So, always a lot on, always a lot vying for people's attention and stuff. So one of the things that we did talk a wee bit about last time around was in regards to the band having a significant anniversary. And I know you'd said you had a number of things planned for that. One of them is the reason that we're here, is to talk a bit about the fact that you have a brand new CD out, or I know I've seen on your social media you've called it's your latest album. You know, you've really kind of bought into that whole vibe, so good to see Whiterock on top of the pops or something over their latest album. But
I think
talk,
you're right. The naming's obviously changing over the years. It now is an album because it's on so many media outlets. I
yeah,
think we're moving slowly away from the CD sort of era. I think now,
uh-huh.
we have produced CDs, and people have started purchasing them already, which is great, and we're thankful for the support. But can I see us ever making another hard copy of a CD? I don't know. I
Yeah.
think it's probably a dying breed. So we do call it the album. Obviously, it's on all the different media outlets now, not just on the CD format.
But we'll talk a wee bit about that in a minute, because I think that that's a really useful thing for to be sharing with bands as they move. What was I saying there? As they move forward, I had one of those. That's a move. I was but a low going on there. But as we move forward, that there are services out there that can help. Put your music out into these digital platforms, and it's a lot easier and not as expensive as people might think to get that done. So we'll talk a wee bit about that later on as well. So talk to us about the recording process then. What was that like for you? Did you spend a lot of time rehearsing, or was it, listen, we know this stuff, let's just go down to a studio and get it gone?
Yeah, I mean, the process this time, and what you'll notice on the CD, it's actually a lot of new tunes in the CD. There's a few in there that we've been playing for some time. None of them have ever featured on the CDs before,
Uh-huh.
so it's definitely a new list of tunes. Some of these are a good part of these actually we started learning this year,
Right.
sort of back end of last year into this year. They're completely new to the band, and we had to get a lot of time in practicing to get those right before obviously we were ready to take it to the recording level. So once we done that, we wanted to get the right list first, so we worked through that, and we went to a few different places within our repertoire that we have, and we also spoke to members about tunes that they may be interested in and so on. And then we sat down and went through the process of getting those nailed down, the drumming right and the fluting right. Rob Hillis in the band took a lot of time sort of getting the drumming. He sort of plays both the flute and the drum. So he spent a lot of time getting that, right, so that we could record the CD. So we did have quite a number of practices on the run up, and then we had to locate a studio somewhere that we could do the recording. And the name escapes me, but it was a city centre studio. So we went there for an afternoon, and spent the day sort of, we had a bit of a warm up session and so on. And then we worked our way into actually getting the recording done. Spent a bit of time sort of playing it back, seeing where we were comfortable with the tunes or not, and then re-recording what we needed to. So it was a good process actually, and it was fun because everybody was in it together. We were enjoying the time of recording. So yeah, it was a good process.
Yeah, and was it the whole band or was it an elite few?
It wasn't the whole band that recorded it. Obviously, when you get into the sort of studio, there wouldn't be the space. So there was a few of us that went down. A good number, I would say, probably 20 or so went down. So it was a good number of people that went to do the recording. And I'm pleased to say that the big drum was involved as well. It wasn't any sort of smaller drums or anything used. We used the big one.
Good stuff. And how would the guys that run the studio with you, because obviously at the end of the day you're a paying customer, but sometimes, people can be a wee bit funny when they realise here we've booked a flute band in, and how were they with you?
Absolutely fine, mate. We actually built a very good relationship with the guy that done the recording. He was actually quite interested in getting the recording done because it was a new thing for him. So one of the comments that he made, that's the biggest drum, for example, that I've ever recorded, any sort of recording. He's used to recording sort of rock bands, would be his forte, but it was completely new to him. And to be honest, I think he was as much into it as we were, for his own sort of experience and trying to nail down the right sort of sound for us. So it was a brilliant process, and he was great with us. Can't say anything at all. Bought into the whole idea, and wanted to make sure that we got the best recording possible.
And then that obviously did the engineer then spend time just working on talking to you about what kind of sound you wanted to get? Was there some talk about that, and then if you having a wee bit of a listen back in regards to just an initial recording to make sure you were happy, because you're obviously trying to capture a sound that you get on the road that's authentic, and for him to kind of maybe connect with that. How did that work?
Yeah, I think you're 100%. That's exactly the way the process was. We had a sound in our mind as what we wanted it to sound like, and as authentic as we could get it. We talked to him about that even before we kind of booked into the recording, and he was bought into the idea of, okay, I want to work with this and see what we can do here. So the process was very much, let's get down, let's get a feel for the recording studio. We played a few tunes just to warm ourselves up, and then we worked into a couple of recordings. Those recordings, then we sat down, and as you said, we played those back and sort of tweaked a bit here and there to kind of see if we were getting the right sort of sound out of the drum, the flutes and so on. So tough enough experience in terms of surrounded by microphones and stuff. Mistakes are very easily picked up, and so on. So yeah, it was good, and the engineer was excellent, as I said earlier. He worked very well with us, and we second to none, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it's good when you can get that kind of working relationship. I know when I did that thing with the marching metal, and the guy in the studio was very much akin to, he was used to recording the rock bands and stuff, so that was down in the Oh Yeah studios, down by the Black Box. So
that's actually where we were.
Is that where you were? Right, okay.
Yeah,
what did you call the engineer in there is brilliant. So yes, he's absolutely fantastic, and well, he had spent a lot of time with that. Obviously, he got the drums we used on the day for that recording was obviously a kit. But he did a good job on getting the flute sound and stuff, in terms of what we wanted to put across for that there. So no, but it's a good wee setup. It's a really funky wee studio, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit weird, like the mats and stuff down, and it's quite interesting, like.
Yeah, with all the wee lights and everything knocking about, I think it's a great wee atmosphere. Even when you walk into it, getting up the stairs and all, it's a real. There's put downstairs is kind of like a throwback, isn't it? And then, did you see any of their stores and everything? Because they've got like all these ridiculous amounts of snare drums for kits and microphones and all. They're good people in there. So, but shout out to the guys in the OES studio. They are brilliant.
Absolutely.
So they're
Yeah,
absolutely
done a great job.
fantastic. Brilliant. So, what did you then do with it? Were you just recording every tune 2 or 3 times and then try and taking a best take out of that, or what way did that work for you?
We kind of done a run through just so we went ahead and played the tunes in two halves really. So we done the first half, run through it. You know, the engineer kind of gave us an indication if it was okay or not. You know, in terms of the silences and everything was fine. So we done that on a first half basis, and then we sat down and had a listen back through it. And then if there was anything that we needed to tweak, we kind of came back to that. You know, and worked through that. Um, I mean, the recording itself went quite smooth. I found, you know, it was more kind of just the engineering part, sort of sitting down, going through it, sort of making sure that we were comfortable with what we were hearing, you know, coming out
Mm-hmm.
of the recording. But yeah, it was a lengthy enough process. It was a good few hours put in. But yeah, it was very good. Enjoyed every minute of it.
I think recording studios are like casinos. You kind of
Mm-hmm.
lose all track of time, because
Yeah,
there's no real outside light thing going on. It's it's reasonably dark and everything, and then before you know it, you walk it out and it's dark. I think I did one of the last sessions I think I started at like 9:30 in the morning and left at 8 o'clock at night, and I was like going, my God, where has
yeah.
the day went? It just then kind of disappears.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it was a good few hours put in, like, and you know, it was the experience is good. You know, it's good experience to sort of sit in there and listen back and get, you know, you can hear things that maybe you weren't hearing when you were doing the recording. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's great to go through that process.
And then what was post production like for you? Is obviously you've had a good listen back in regards to it, but obviously you would have had to have had the thing mixed and mastered and stuff like that. What was that process like? Because I always find that there can be a place where you can get overly critical of things and want certain things
Yeah.
lifted here, and then you end up messing with the natural sound that you've recorded, and you end up going back to the way it was before you tweaked anything.
Definitely. So obviously once we had done the recording, you know, the engineer went away and was doing some of the mixing and stuff and sent us kind of a first draft, if you will, of the music. We tried to keep it to a small audience initially to listen to it, to say, right, you know, don't be overcritical. I think you're right, you know, especially when it's your own sort of CD, you're overcritical of
Hmm.
what you're hearing. So, you know, there was a lot of nitpicking going on in the initial sort of review, but you know, you get comfortable with that. A lot of it's sort of natural and stuff. So we did go back again. We made a few tweaks after we had done that initial review, and then we got a comfortable copy that we thought, right, okay, we'll now take this kind of to the whole band, and we actually instead of having a band practice one week, we actually sat together as a band and listened through the CD. And you know, the boys got very comfortable with what they were hearing, making sure that everybody was happy with the music that was on there. So yeah, we sat down as a group and we agreed, you know, what the final sort of CD would be, or the final album, and move it into production then.
Brilliant. How weird was that? Sitting down in a band practice, listening to the band playing through speakers. That's got to be strange.
Yeah, it is like, and again, you know, the critics are in the room, so people were listening to it and sort of saying, right, okay, there's a wee thing there, maybe we could listen to that again. And we did do that at the end. We went back over a couple of tunes and just sort of said, well, are we happy with that or not? You know, so and I'm not ashamed to say there was a couple of tunes on there that maybe didn't make the cut finally, so they
Right.
were taken off at the last part, but we expected that, and it was overkill in terms of the number of tunes. But we've got back to the kind of final selection, and that's where we finished up, and we then moved the CD into production. Then
So many tunes that you ditched then because there's a fair number on it.
two, there was two in the end that they kind of didn't make the final CD.
All right, okay. So, but and then when you were getting ready for production and stuff like that, there, did you have any? Do you have any nerves about releasing the thing? Because at the end of the day, you've spent a lot of time, on it, and then you're like kind of going, right, we're going to release this, and I know what it's like whenever I've done even just stuff that's not even band related, and you go and release something, and you go, right, what's the response going to be like this here? Like I like this, but other people may not. Do you, any sense of apprehension, or people know what they're going to get with you, and you go, listen, it's the Whiterock.
Well, I think you have to be genuine. Like when you're releasing something like that, there is obviously wonder what people are going to think. What's the public going to think about the music that we've produced? And it's the same as these podcasts. You know, you don't know what it's going to be like until you put them out. So the nerves are there. Like, but to be honest, obviously the CDs have been on sale now for a while, and they're now available online as well. And people have been giving good feedback. To be honest, I've heard some good feedback from it. So we're happy that it's out there, and you know, it's important to get the music out there to make sure that people get to hear how the band are progressing in terms of tunes and so on. So I
Yeah.
think so far it's been good feedback, but yeah, absolutely, there's nerves there, mate, and you can't get away from that.
I know. Well, tell you what. Why don't we kick in with the tune then? Let's put a tune on, and then we'll talk a wee bit more after that about that particular tune, and a wee bit more maybe about the rest of the process with the CD, especially getting that onto the digital platform. I think you're doing a great job with that. So where are we going to first then, Thomas? What are we gonna share with the Made the Parade listeners first?
Maybe we'll start with a March first then, will we? We'll go
Okay.
with the Waveney, if you've
All right,
got
no
it.
worries. The Waveney. And why did you pick out the Waveney then? Because that's an old, for me, that's an old tune. It's one of the first marches I learned. Whenever I started getting into that. So what made you pick this one?
Yeah, so the Waveney for us, this is actually a new one for us. This isn't something that we had until sort of this year, really. So it's
Right.
completely new for us. I think for us, we are obviously categorized as a Blood and Thunder band, but I think
Mm-hmm.
it's very important to put it across the marches that we play. We've obviously had many, I think you mentioned in the last podcast, the Merry Bandit,
Yeah.
Children's Love and so on. But this one, you will want to keep that repertoire up with marches. They're an important part to our band. So that's why we've chosen this tune to add to the CD.
Brilliant. And for me, the Waveney is like a classic march. It's one of those. The trio on this is
Yeah.
fantastic. I love the Waveney's one of those tunes. So what I'm going to do is just going to do the old screen share thing here and get this going. And folks, this is the Whiterock playing the Waveney. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. That is class. And I'm loving obviously the wee bit of the parts there in the second section, you know, and you could have done with a few parts in what do you call it, the trio there, but I know that's not your style, like, you know. So brilliant. That's a real throwback for me, I have to say. That's you know, that takes me back to whenever that second part kicked in there, with it just took me right back to me being 10 years old and
Yeah.
playing that with a Predator Ravenman. Obviously, that's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
And
Love it.
to be honest, the band have enjoyed, you know, learning that tune and getting it. It's been a great tune to learn, actually, you know, especially the seconds put in sort of in the section. So for us, it's been a pleasure to learn that tune and actually have it as part of our repertoire now. So
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic.
But it has do you know what, it has that kind of White Rock feel to it, doesn't it? With that, you know, the drumming side of things, you know, and playing on that 6/8 thing, you know. But it really has. You can just imagine the band walking to that there. So have you played this in the road yet?
We have actually, yeah. We
Uh
have. We played it a few times on the road, yeah. Wouldn't say it's our biggest tune out there, doing it, but yeah,
huh.
we've played it a few times, yeah. So
That's
all these
it.
tunes that are on here, they've been played on the road, and hopefully this year, certainly you'll hear a lot more of them when we're
Dead
out
on. So the Waveney's one of those tunes you call when there's nobody around, is there?
there. When the White Rock's walking, there's always people around, Glenn.
Brilliant, brilliant. So one of the things that we were talking about just before that as well, Thomas, was we were saying that you have now got, you know, your music on digital platforms. So you're
Yep.
on Amazon, you're on Apple Music. I know that's where I have it on mine. Is it saved on the my library there? And user, have you? How's the Spotify thing going? Is it there yet, or are we still waiting on it?
No, we're on. We're fully back on
Brilliant.
Spotify as well. Yeah, so we had a bit of a technical blip there the other week. Everything went missing
Uh
across
huh.
all platforms, but we worked with the provider to get it brought back on. But yeah, there's just a few issues there with
Uh
the
huh.
CDs. But we've got them all back on. They're on all the platforms now, readily available for anyone to go on and listen to.
You know, and I think that's it's definitely the way forward, because that's where, I mean, that's where I get all. I mean, obviously I used to upload all my music onto my computer, and back in the days of iPods and all that kind of stuff, you know. But I think the streaming thing's really important that bands get into, you know, and widen your audience, or at least give people the potential of, because everybody's got a phone on them, you know, they've got some way of getting in touch with that. How did you go about that? What service are you using? You using Ditto or?
Yeah, yeah. So we're with Ditto to do the releases onto the different platforms. It's actually great because it's reasonably priced. I think it's like £19 or something for a
Yeah.
year, and as long as you're releasing onto the same artist, which we are, there's no additional cost for additional
Mhm.
albums. So, for us, it's a great idea. You know, it's an easy service to work with. And they've helped us through a few issues, as I said, the technical issues that we had last week or so. So it's been a great service for us, and you know they very quickly get you from CD to the online platforms and readily
Yeah.
available for people to listen to.
And as you say, it is a pretty straightforward process. As long as you have the audio files, you know, it's as simple as uploading a file, naming it,
Yeah.
putting a bit of artwork on, and they look after the rest essentially, don't they?
They do, aye, and if they come across any issues during they do a review before
Hmm.
anything's released, and if they come across any issues when they're doing that review, they'll let you know, and they'll get in contact. So it is a good service in that respect, and I think one of the biggest issues we come up against is the artwork, because generally when they're expecting an upload of a CD, the artwork should only have the words of the name of the artist and the name of the CD, really. But obviously, when you get into band crests and stuff like that, there's obviously a lot more word in there. So sometimes you have to work it a wee bit. And you'll probably notice actually on the upload of this new album that not all the text is available in the logo, but that's how we get over it, and we got it uploaded in time for July anyway.
I know. I think what, you know, if they're prepared to work with you, and you know, you can make small changes to things that make sure you've got the widest audience potential possible. I think, again, you know what, fair play. And How are you finding that? Because obviously the service there will also provide you with some kind of metrics, doesn't it? In terms of, does that provide you in terms of the plays you're getting, and then what? Not, I'll not ask you to go into the royalties or anything like that there, but how? What's the uptake been like with the digital platforms for your stuff? Are you getting a good getting any lessons?
Yeah, we definitely are, mate. It's been very good actually. And again, we thank everyone for the support of actually getting on and listening, because people may not think it makes a difference, but it definitely does. And you do notice obviously spikes coming at certain times. So July last year, for example, you see that massive spike in plays coming in, compared to some of the other months. So that's when you see it. And also, like, if there's events or anything happening, the Jubilee was maybe an example. The Jubilee
Yeah.
weekend, when people are maybe having street parties and stuff like that, you see the trend pushing up at that point as well. So they provide sort of metrics mainly for Spotify and Apple. But
Okay.
in terms of Amazon, you can actually get those through Amazon themselves. You just need to
Right.
claim the artist, and then you can go in and look at the metrics there. They actually have a very good metrics platform. It's live, so you can
Mm-hmm.
see it happening throughout the day. If you're seeing the peaks happening or troughs, so you can
Sure.
engage them with your audience to sort of say, look, go online, you can listen here or whatever.
Yeah. And have you been geeking out over that a wee bit? Have you been in checking it a fair bit?
Yeah, we do. We sort of keep an eye on it to see how it is trending. The thing is, obviously, the royalties are generally a bit behind.
Mm,
So they're like, you're not getting them the next day. There's like a 3 month or so lag there. So
right.
kind of trying to keep an eye on the stats to see what you're maybe predicting for the future. So the more that you can get the plays out there, the better, obviously, for the band.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, folks, if you are, if you have a phone, you've got an iPod or an Alexa or anything like that there, get the Whiterock on, and just like we've done before, just all you have to do is say, Alexa, play the latest album by the Whiterock Flute Band, and it'll come on, and quite possibly in somebody's house. That's just happened. So you never know. We might be getting plays going on there for that there. But I think it's fantastic because I know I'd seen a few bands that have done that. I know Balnron had put their whole back catalogue up on Amazon, and that was great. Especially because some of that stuff you can't get a hold of anymore. Especially as you saying, with some of the old product, it either maybe has got scratched or somebody's lost or whatever else. It's great to have the digital platform to be able to do that. So I'm getting the sense that you'd recommend people to use something like Ditto if they've got a lot of CDs or something in their back catalogue to get their stuff out there further, give it a fresh boost.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, there might be a bit of work at the beginning, and if you're uploading new albums, there's a bit of work needed just to get everything perfect so that it will upload successfully. And like, a big shout out to Brian and our band, who has been working this in the background and has had countless emails back and forth with the provider to get everything
Mm.
online. So big shout out to him, that without his sort of efforts, we wouldn't have it as where it is today. But yeah, I would recommend it, and I think people are moving that way. People are getting their Spotify or their Apple Music or whatever, and having that music alongside whatever you listen to on a normal basis in there, it's perfect. So
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, I would recommend it.
No, definitely. I think, and for the cost, I mean, as you say, for £19 for
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I mean, that's not a lot of cash to outlay. Yes, there may be a wee bit of time and effort put in this, getting the stuff up there, but 19 quid is not a lot of
you'll
money.
make it back. You'll make it back.
You make it back. I mean,
Absolutely.
straight, you'll make it back in next to you'll make that £19 back in no time. To be honest with you, do you know what I mean? And for the cost of two CDs, if you're selling with a tenner, you've got an audience of thousands and thousands, potentially thousands of people who can listen into your stuff and come across it. And you know what? It's really good as well, I think, for people who have moved away from Northern Ireland who live, like the likes of Canadian brethren, people in Australia. I think about all those people who, the expat guys and all, who are always looking for stuff, and they go, well, listen, just go on to Amazon, go on to Apple, get on to Spotify and get a hold of the latest album from the bands here. I think it's fantastic. It's great stuff.
Definitely, and you can see that too. Actually, Canada would be one of the headers. That we would see the music being played. You
Yeah.
can see which country it's being played in. So obviously the UK being the biggest majority, but definitely there's countries like Canada and Australia which have come in, with play. So you know that there's people in those countries listening to the music.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think you might get a spike over there as well come in July because it's their 212th anniversary this
All right.
year. It was supposed to be the year before there, I think. But obviously COVID put the kibosh on that. And but yeah, there's a massive community out there in Canada who are into this here, especially up around the Toronto, Bromley area and everything. There's loads of people who will be listening in. So for the Canadian listeners, there's a new album from the Whiterock. Make sure you get a hold of it. Get it on your Spotify playlist and start playing that over the 212th there. So we're going to another tune here, Thomas. Where are we going next?
I think we'll go for the Blaydon Races, which is a tune that we played for a while now. Actually, it's never been on an album, and that tune we actually learned that to go to Newcastle upon Tyne. So Blaydon Races is a big song for Newcastle FC fans,
Right. Okay.
and we learned that because we were going over to Newcastle to parade over there. And in actual fact, our band president Matt Nemo is from Newcastle upon Tyne, so he loves this tune as well. So it's a great tune to get out there, and I enjoy it too. It's a wee sort of bouncy one that you can walk along to.
And what was the parade you were doing in Newcastle?
Um, I think it was maybe Apprentice Boys. I think it was an Apprentice Boys parade that we done in Newcastle. We paraded there once, I think, number of years ago. You're taking it back here now, but yeah. So it was a great parade too, actually. So I enjoy walking in different places, and the reason being, I always love to know what other areas sort of think. Of a marching band coming through maybe their town centre or whatever. But yeah, it was a great experience going to Newcastle actually.
Brilliant. But listen, we're going to put this on now. So, folks, here we go. This is the Whiterock with their latest album, and this is going to be, as soon as I find it here, the Blaydon Races. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. There'll be some Linfield fans out there loving that. And there's been many a version of that tune on a band bus. So,
I think there's many versions of it out there.
yeah.
Yeah,
Brilliant. Happy days. Good stuff. So another classic, kind of weight rock sound thing going on there. Obviously, very similar in the vein to Waveney there in terms of the drumming style and everything too. But no, those have got to be great to be walking to as well. It's a definite cracking tune to be getting behind. Obviously, you're heading to Scotland. You have a good relationship with Scotland. There's a couple of Scottish numbers on this as well, isn't there?
Yeah, there definitely is, mate. We actually have a good relation with the Young Calway band, and one of the tunes that they're famous for and the sing is the Proud History. So we kind of took that and sort of put it on our own CD, and we've been playing that for a couple of years. And again, it's one of those tunes that we learned to sort of take there. We play in the hall there, so we went over and we played it. Playing their own tune in their hall. It was a great reception. Brilliant. So yeah, that the Proud History is definitely a one that we've picked up from our trips to Scotland. And obviously you have a couple of others in there like the Rolling Tree and so on that are very traditional Scottish tunes as well. So big connection, big Ulster Scots connection there.
Yeah, definitely. And is that young Calvi connection just purely from you being over for the big walk, or was there something else that brought that connection around?
No, so it was I think a matter of us going over and the people that knew each other I suppose in the bands, and then we were always looking something to do on the Sunday, so we got together and we organised a bit of a playing in their hall. So that's now become an annual thing for us. So
Right.
we have a great relation with the group there, and yeah, it's a really strong bond that we've built.
Brilliant. Well, then let's give that a whirl as well here, and then let's get
Right.
the proud history on. And folk, I'm just gonna bring this up here again, and folks, this is the proud history from the Whiterock. And let me. There we go. There it is. That's brilliant. You probably caught me smiling there at the end of those phrases when you're coming into double 40s and the big drum just giving it the boom. That's brilliant. Absolutely
Sounds
brilliant.
even better out in the road.
Oh man, that is fantastic. So it is. It's really, really good. So that's a cracking tune. I have to say, I've listened to the album maybe 4 or 5 times, and that's always a wee standout track for me. I have to say, really, really, really enjoyed that one. And again, I can imagine standing on the side of the road there watching these kind of go past, watching that with the drummers giving it Dixie with the sticks and everything, mate. So absolutely fantastic. Now there's another tune that I'd talk to you about. You've already mentioned it as well, and for me, it's another. I suppose for me, it's another one of those tunes that's for me, there's a big connection with my band with this tune, and our band president who passed away not that long ago. There, this tune is his favourite tune, Sussex by the Sea. That would have been his tune, and we had the privilege of playing. It gets a bit morbid here, but we played this at his funeral,
Yeah.
because it's just that was his tune. Anytime he was near us, that was then we'd say, "What do you want us to play?" And you knew he was going to say Sussex by the Sea, man. So brilliant. How long has this been in your repertoire? Is this new, or is this one that's been knocking about for a while?
No, pretty new. We probably started playing it just sort of coming into the pandemic phase actually, so I probably get lost a while, while we weren't walking. But no, it's something that we've kind of played a short while. It was something one of the members actually brought up as a potential tune. I think they heard it being played somewhere else, and thought that's a good tune, might fit in with us.
Yeah,
Obviously, I think it's a big Brighton FC sort of tune.
yeah,
And a lot of the marching military bands obviously play it as well. So
yeah,
yeah, it's an excellent march. Really, really good, and another one that you really enjoy learning.
yeah.
Not to it.
I love walking to this. I have to say, every time we're playing this tune as well, I love
Yeah,
walking to this here. It's just one of those ones you can just kind of relax into and just enjoy the fact that this is carrying you along. So, folks, this is Sussex by the Sea, played by the Whiterock, obviously. So here we go. Just gonna bring this up, and we'll get Sussex by the Sea on here. And I know this is all about the Whiterock here, but I'm gonna dedicate this to the Bob, our ex-president here. So, Sussex by the Sea. That's brilliant. Absolute classic piece of music there.
yeah,
Brilliant. And it's one of those things. You'll have heard that people will have heard that they'll have heard the Royal Marines playing that. They'll have heard, as you say, they'll have heard other military bands playing that particular piece of music at March. Absolutely, that's brilliant. That's give
yeah.
me.
It's a very, very good tune, definitely. And as I said, it's one of those tunes you enjoy learning. Actually, there's so much to it, and
Mhm.
I think the build-ups in it and so on, excellent. So really
Yeah.
good, really good.
No, definitely, absolutely cracking piece of music. So it is. So what are the main reasons behind releasing a CD? Obviously, yes, there is the anniversary element to it, but what are the other aspects of releasing a CD? Why do you do it?
Yeah, I think for me it's important to sort of get your music out there. Obviously we've three albums out there now. Every album's different. There's no sort of duplication of tunes really in there. And I think it's just for as time goes on, the band, our sound, as I said, doesn't change a massive amount, but certainly your ability and how you play sort of comes on. So I think it's very important to keep that record, and it
Mm.
is a record really. That's saying, as you've said, releasing it to the online, for example, that music will never disappear now.
Yeah.
It's etched into history. So I think it's your legacy. It's your music. It's the music you produced all those years, and it's great just to keep it out there in the public domain for many years to come. And even, and God forbid that anything ever happened to the band, the music still exists. It's
Yeah.
there, forever.
Yeah, and I suppose the other thing that's good about this as well is if you're stuck now, if you with new members,
Hmm.
learning tunes, they have almost a close to an
Yep.
amazing repertoire of the band's tunes available to them. Here, listen, just stick this on your phone, go home and listen to that there, and here, it's a cracking practice tool.
Yeah, definitely it is, and it will be used for that. Every member gets a copy of the CD when we produce them anyway. So absolutely, you'll get that CD, and if you want to listen and play along, that's exactly what you can do now.
Yeah, no, brilliant. I think that's definitely a way forward. I think that even for the fact that it's online and doing that as well, I think that it's perfect as well. So even if you've got people who end up guesting with you, they can pick up
Yeah.
your tunes pretty easily and stuff as well. Happy days. So we're gonna what have we got? One more we're gonna go for, Arba, or about two more?
I think one more we've got, and this tune I actually really enjoy this tune. This is Roll Out the Barrel on the If You're Irish.
Right.
It's a great wee tune, sort of the bounce along to as well. And we learnt this actually. We were going to play in Monaghan, in an indoor event actually, and we were trying to think of something, that we could play. You're sort of obviously in Ireland, you want to sort of play something that sort of maybe relates a bit closer to home. And,
Sure.
and we heard this tune, and absolutely brilliant. I think one of the first times we played it was actually in the Glasgow parade, out in the road. It was in Glasgow, and we were coming into the city centre in Glasgow, and there's actually a very good video of it. And the tune sounds excellent, and the band are really getting into it. So it's a personal favourite of mine, a great tune.
Brilliant. So here we go then. Roll out the barrel, and if you're Irish, and by the Whiterock here, let's go for it. Another classic, absolutely brilliant, and that's got both of your kind of signature time signatures as well, hasn't it? Because the starts off with your what you would consider the classic Whiterock kind of thing, and then moves into that 68 thing as well. So that's another cracker one. You know, brilliant stuff.
Definitely.
So obviously you've outlined a few things in terms of what's coming. Obviously you got Whiterock and stuff, and then obviously are you guys out in the east and on the first, or are you?
We're not this year because it clashes with traveling to the Glasgow parade. So
There
the
you
first
go.
is Friday, and we travel over. So unfortunately, we're not there this year. It probably clashes next year as well. But hopefully, we'll get back to the east for the parade at some stage. But this year, unfortunately, it's not happening. We're heading directly to Glasgow to take part in their main parade on the
Yeah, yeah,
Saturday.
yeah. Whenever I said that, I kind of it twigged. I was like, kind of going, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and then big question here: looking forward to the 12th this year? Not looking forward to the 12th this year.
I think we're back to the good old 12. So hopefully, it'll be a fantastic day getting back to normality. Obviously, we've had a couple of years there where it was definitely not normal, but just hope that the legs can carry us. Obviously, it's a long journey going back. But we are looking forward to it. Looking forward to getting back into that sort of, traditional sort of route again, and getting back up on the Lisburn Road and everything else. So yeah, we are looking forward to taking part this year.
Yeah, and good to see that we got the live TV thing sorted out. Obviously, we're now on GB News instead of BBC News or whatever. So, um, yeah, interesting stuff there, isn't it? You know, in terms of how that all came about too. It's strange times in regards to that. But hopefully it'll be good coverage. I was really miffed initially, and then the more I thought about it, now that it's on GB News, it'll go a heck of a lot wider than just the regional, you know, the program that the BBC will put out. But as I've said previously, I'm kind of half and half about the 12th this year. I have to say, like I'm one. The Stormont parade was, a kicker for me. I was like kind of going, right, I've put on an extra couple of pound or two here, maybe 10 or 20 pound extra on, and I was down at the end of that the what do you call it, the centenary parade, and I did see when we were doing that, flip around the city hall to come back over to the east, and all that. Like, I was getting flashbacks of, your feet killing me coming back from the from the field or whatever else, But you know what? Be good to have done. To be good to walk up that, the Lisburn Road again, and then coming
Mhm.
back down, get those good vibes and stuff coming from the crowd there and stuff, So brilliant. So, Thomas, thanks very much for coming on and sharing a wee bit of more of an update about what's happening with the band, but also for a wee bit of a preview listening in terms of the new album from the band. Absolutely fantastic stuff, and I know this will go down well with the listeners, man. I really appreciate you taking the time out.
No, definitely. And look, anyone looking the albums, they're readily available. They're actually available in a few shops at the moment. So the Union Jack shop in the Newton Road has stock of it. The Northern Culture shop on the Shankill as well, and a wee spot in Ulster in Cumber is stock of the CD as well. So if you're looking at an actual copy of the CD, you can grab it from any of those outlets. Great, they're great for gifts, to be honest. I think obviously you've got the nice case and stuff, so yeah, fire away, get a copy of the CD. It's nice to keep, so yeah, stick with that. And also, we're actually bringing out USB pens. I think you said about this before, Glenn. So
Yeah.
we have these nice little branded
Oh
USB
wow! Look at
pens.
those.
So they're going to be available soon. They're not just available now, but they will be in the coming days. What we're planning to do with these is put all three albums on them. So you will be able to pick up all three albums on this USB for £10 as well.
Oh,
So
that's all right.
really good price. And I say we've limited stock of them when they initially come out, but we'll see how they go, and if needs be, we can get more out there.
Yeah, maybe I can blag one for a giveaway.
Yeah, yeah. We'll get you one. Absolutely.
No worries, and we'll do we comp and stuff. So one of the things that I'll say to you is we obviously we've got new ideas coming up for Made the Parade in terms of September and stuff. So there's going to be some, interesting things coming from us. And what I'd love to do is that when we go, I announced last week on the podcast, or this week, sorry, on the podcast, that I'm gonna be switching to like a chat show kind of thing. So going to be waiting out the whole thing out, and one of the things we'll definitely be doing will be having like ensembles of bands coming down and doing a wee stint, and whenever I can get the studio space organised for getting this done, love to have you down, love to have you on as a guest and stuff, man. Again, and talk about the good work that you guys and the Whiterock are doing, man. But listen, for now, thanks very much, and I would just want to wish you all the best for the album release. I hope you've got lots of sales, lots of listens, and are doing a good job of promoting some of the great stuff that's happening in our band culture here. So, no, man, brilliant, good job.
Ken, and thanks for having me on. And here, best of luck walking the 12th this year. Hope you make it.
That's it. We see there'll be an announcement going up that made the parade host doesn't make it back from 12th. Carried back in a box from from the field. Brilliant. I tell you what, I can see it happen.